Hey guys, welcome back to the channel, and in this tutorial I will show you how you can actually use some environment texture to pop out your model's lighting inside Blender. Now we all know that inside Blender it has some light system, but in light system it really like you have to do all manual works, right? So there is some settings where you can actually use some HDRI or environment textures to actually ready make your scene. So it's kind of like a life hack sort of. So without further ado, let's begin. Alright guys, right now we are inside Blender, and you know the drill. Just select general and select all the default cube, default lighting and default everything, and just delete it. So just hold the mouse and drag and drop, like drag until you select everything, press X to delete. So now what we're gonna do is we're gonna import our models. So go to the directory, and this model is FBX, so select import FBX and go to the directory where you saved your model. Wait for a while to load them properly, because sometimes it depends on CPU power. If you use a low spec CPU, it's gonna take a while. So our model is already loaded. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna bring it up on Z axis. So press Z and press Z to bring it up on top. And now I am gonna rotate it. So before that, I think I'm gonna change the render engine, but since it's a very simple tutorial, I think Eve is good. So let's rotate it to our viewport, and there we go. Looks pretty good right now. So everything looks pretty much good into it. We can now add our textures to it, like you know the drill. Let's select select the package you want, but before that we want to add a plane that is going to be our example ground. So this like check everything looks good. So now I want to add texture materials to my model. So select one and go to the material option, and before that let's go to the render mode. Not render mode, since we don't have a light. Let's go to pre-render mode and select the object, and go to the base color, red dot, yellow dot, pardon me, and click on image texture and load the image from your directory. And since I have my image already loaded in, it's gonna take some time to preload. And there we go, it's already looking pretty nice and fitted right in. So let's do the same for other remaining models too. Just as I said before, press on the base color, yellow dot from the materials option, and select the image that you want to be texture, since it's an image texture. And make sure the image looks very much blended with our scene, and do the rest for the remaining model as the same process as before. An image texture, load the image, and it will look pretty much baked into the overall scene. And there we go, we're done with loading the image texture. It's looking pretty nice, and right now I want to give a color to my plane so it will look fitting. So choose the color that you want until you get a satisfaction of that it looks blended with the scene. This looks good, but I think I'm gonna go with something like orange, maybe like a light orange. So just play with the slider, color slider. I'm gonna choose this. This looks pretty good. And when you are done with this one, let's just rotate and everything to see that if it looks good. And right now it looks pretty nice. Rotate around the axis and everything looks pretty good. So now we can move on to our next level, and that is going to the environment texture and add some environment. So press on the yellow color dot and select an environment texture and press on it, and let's just load our environment texture where we had stored it inside our computer. So I'm gonna load my image right in a few seconds, and it's gonna take some second also to load the scene. So if you're done with the loading of the scene, it should pop up on the scene. So let's go to the shading to see that everything is connected pretty nice. Change the view to world view and hit the pre-rendered mode to rendered mode. Looks pretty good, but it's now doing overexposed of everything, so I want to decrease it. But if you decrease it like too much, like 0.002, it will look like too much of a dark scene. So be careful when you're changing with this slider. So I think something around 0.6, 0.5, that will look good. 0.4 in this case looks pretty good, and I'm going to increase it, decrease it a little bit. 0.3 looks good, so let's change it to render mode, and there you go guys. It looks pretty nice, it looks pretty good. And this is how you can actually set up and implement textures in Blender to a model, and that will affect everything. So now I'm gonna add a light. I think I'm gonna go with a area light, but to bring it much more depth, something sort of like um, reflection. So bring it up on Z axis, press Z and Z, and bring it up on top. And now I'm gonna go to light settings and increase the power to something like 1000, and also change the size. But if you do like one, it looks good to me. And I'm gonna also check to see, like, if I bring up the light on x-axis, or if it looks good or not. I think the default settings looks good. So there you go guys. Now our scene looks pretty much ready and everything. Now what you can do is you can like actually set up a camera to our viewport settings and everything, and it's completely to your choice. So I hope this tutorial helped, and if it did, leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and I really hope to see you on to the next one. I will be back with more tutorials. Have a nice day. See you later.